All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to talk about this incredible 100-year journey of a silent film. We're talking about Buster Keaton's Our Hospitality and how it kind of secretly became this modern global blockbuster. It's wild.
But first, I've got a question for you. A bit of a puzzle. What in the world does a huge 2012 Bollywood hit, like a big action comedy, have in common with a 1923 American silent movie? I mean, they seem worlds apart, right? Well, the answer is pretty much everything. And this story, it tells us so much about what makes a plot, truly timeless.
See, that 1923 film, Our Hospitality, it wasn't just some vague inspiration for that 2012 Hindi movie, Son of Sardar. No, it's its direct ancestor. This is the story of how a film that's 100 years old got this incredible second life in a totally different time, a totally different culture.
And here's the crazy part. It's the scale of it all. This wasn't some one-off thing. The core idea, the engine of Our Hospitality was so good, so compelling, it was adapted not once, not twice, but 7 different times in Indian cinema. It kicked off around 2002 and really hit its peak with the 2010 Telugu blockbuster Maryada Ramana. I mean, that just proves this thing has a universal appeal that completely jumps over language and cultural barriers.
So, you gotta be asking, right? What is this premise? What's the secret sauce here that makes this story so easy to adapt? Well, it all boils down to this perfect narrative trap. And it's created when two completely ridiculous old school traditions just smash into each other.
Okay, so tradition number 1, the McKay-Canfield feud. This is basically a send-up of the famous Hatfield-McCoy feud. It's this generations-long cycle of violence where, and the film says this itself, men kill each other for no other reason except that their father had done so. It's just absurd. And our hero, Willie McKay, he's played by Buster Keaton, he's been living in New York his whole life. He has absolutely no clue any of this is even a thing.
And then on the other side, you have tradition number 2, Southern hospitality. And look, this isn't just about, being nice and offering someone a drink. This is an ironclad code of honor. It means a host has to provide safety, comfort, the whole deal to any guest under their roof. Doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter what they did, their house is a sacred sanctuary. So here's where it gets good. Willie McKay, our hero, he falls for Virginia Canfield, and she, not knowing any better, invites him over to her family's house for dinner. The second he walks through that door, the Canfields realize, oh no, this is the last guy from the family we've sworn to kill. But he's a guest. He's in their house. And that's the whole conflict right there. Code 1, the feud, says we have to kill this guy, but Code 2, hospitality, says we have to protect this guy with our lives. They're completely trapped by their own ridiculous rules. It's this perfect engine for suspense and, really dark comedy. And this incredible plot, it wasn't just clever. It was a huge turning point for comedy and film. You could say Our Hospitality is where comedy really grew up and learned how to tell a story, moving way beyond just simple gags and slapstick.
Yeah, this was Keaton's first true feature-length story. I mean, his movie before this, Three Ages, it was basically 3 short films just kind of stuck together. But here, with Our Hospitality, for the very first time, he had to build one single cohesive story where the jokes and the stunts actually served the plot, not the other way around. That was a game changer.
And it was also a really personal film for him. This is the only movie that has 3 generations of Keatons in it. You've got his real-life dad, Joe Keaton, as the train engineer. You've got Buster himself, obviously, as the hero. And then his own baby son, Buster Keaton Jr., plays him as a baby in the beginning. It's a real family affair. But Keaton. A great story was never going to be enough for him. He needed to ground everything in reality. And that obsessive need for realism, it led to some of the most authentic and frankly dangerous stunt work ever captured on film. Keaton's whole philosophy was pretty simple. If the world feels real, the jokes land harder, and the danger feels, real. So for this movie, he rides an exact replica of an 1830s bicycle, one without pedals. It was so perfect that the Smithsonian actually asked for it later. Then he built a working replica of an 1829 train, the Stephenson's Rocket, literally just because he thought its clumsy design looked funnier on screen. And he insisted on shooting on location, out at the beautiful but really dangerous Truckee River. And all of this incredible effort, it all builds to the film's climax, the waterfall rescue.
This is, without a doubt, one of the most famous and just breathtaking stunts in the entire history of movies.
Now, the shot you actually see in the movie, that was a bit of movie magic. It was filmed in a big studio pool with a miniature set. But the danger behind it was terrifyingly real. When they were practicing on the actual river, a wire that was holding him snapped, and Keaton was nearly swept away and drowned. For real. And even back in the safe studio pool, the force of the water they used was so intense that he swallowed a ton of it and had to get medical help right away.
And that just shows you how committed this guy was. His camera crew had one simple, very stark instruction: never stop cranking in the camera until Buster himself calls cut. He told them to keep filming no matter what happened to him. And that's why when you watch it, you can see genuine, near-death terror in his eyes, because it was real.
So here we are 100 years later. What is the legacy of our hospitality? It's fascinating, really, because it kind of splits into two totally different parts. You can think of it as the film's software and its hardware.
So here's the big takeaway. The film's narrative software, that perfect hospitality trap premise, it was basically open source. It got ported right over to Indian cinema, where filmmakers gave it a new skin for a new culture, and it just exploded. At the same time, the film's physical hardware, that whole idea of the stuntman as the true artist, the author of the action, that was inherited by a completely different cinematic tradition, inspiring action heroes like Jackie Chan. So you've got two totally separate, massive legacies, all from this one silent film.
And that brings us right back to that puzzle from the beginning, right? The connection between this 100-year-old silent movie and a modern Bollywood blockbuster, it really shows us what can make a story truly timeless. It seems like a perfectly built premise. A narrative engine as clever as the one in our hospitality doesn't just entertain us for a little while. It can cross oceans, it can cross decades, it can cross entire cultures, and it can be just as powerful today as it was 100 years ago.